Good afternoon. This is my first weekly racist commentary. And racist stands for race, a concept explored in story, circle, or other ways interactively. Today I just want to talk once again about why I started R.A.C.E.S and why it is important. Now, there are lots of people, quite a few black women and men and organizations doing anti-racist work and anti-racist education. And all of them that I've seen are really doing great work. And it is important work. And it is the foundation of racism. Because without education, we don't know what is racist. Some people don't. Because, I found out this week in reading Stamped that two of my anti-racist heroes actually had racist thoughts and expressed them in their lifetimes. But they also had racist thoughts and they had anti-racist thoughts. And those two people were Frederick Douglass and W.E.B. Dubois. And it's good reading this book Stamped, even though it's 500 pages, because he gets into the details of explaining these people. And Frederick Douglass went through quite a few changes, back and forth. And W.E.B. Du Bois did too, but he eventually came out totally against any racist ideas. But it took him time. It took him time because he kept seeing that no matter how much he tried to impress white people with his knowledge or with scientific proof, they weren't interested in those times. Now, changes have occurred. And we have to acknowledge the people who fought and died during the Civil Rights Movement and afterwards. And we grieve and hurt for all of the people who have died. And there have been many women, and there's actually today I found out there's an organization that has been keeping track of the women of color and black women who have been killed by police, who don't often get that same attention that Breonna got. And it is so exciting, and I'm so happy that there's been some financial justice, although 12 million, 20 million, 50 million cannot replace a person's life. But Breonna was about helping people. She was an EMT. And that, to me, is really, aside from being an essential job, it's a hard job. And people who go into that really care about helping others. And Breonna never knew that her life would have such an impact it has had, even though those who loved her miss her. And that grief can't really be replaced by money. But what is important, what is good now, is that we do have people who are standing up, who are making statements, who are being heard or being remembered. And we do have allies, people who are joining us, who aren't black or people of color, and that is great. But we've been this way before. And in this country, it's been a step forward and usually 3 steps back. But this is the 21st century. And I know, as many of you do, that we are entering a totally new era. That's why things have been so difficult. Socially, judiciously, environmentally, health-wise. This confluence of change, pandemic, protests, criminal behavior, and assault on the environment, all coming together at the same time, has been prophesied by many people in many places. Indigenous people, Toltecs, Hopi, religious people, Buddhists. This is not to be unexpected. What is important is to know that we can come out on the other side stronger. We can not only transcend racist ideas, we can transcend the whole concept of race. Because we've recognized now that it's not just race, which is really a concept that doesn't even exist, except it's something people made up, men made up. But we also have the thing about color. If I was 3 shades darker, like my sisters, my experiences would have been different. And I would have had different types of reactions. You see, I grew up in a house full of dark brown skinned people, and I thought I was dark brown. After all, when I was in Florida, I was quite a bit browner. I never thought of myself as not being brown until I left home. And really, it wasn't until after my mother died when I realized I'm not exactly like my sisters. But maybe I was kind of like a friend of mine who sent me a comment to a post. And she's a white lady and she has kids. And I was talking about in that post how if it wasn't for people fighting for racial justice, my husband and I couldn't have been married because he's white. And this lady who's a nurse, she said her children go to school with Mexican Americans and Black Americans and different people. And they don't come back saying, oh, my Mexican friend and my Black friend. They just talk about their friends. And that's the world we want. I want a world where I can feel that both my great niece and nephew are safe in Oregon. That my little blonde nephew will not have to be getting into fights to protect his brown-skinned sister. Because there are many of us who are mixed. And there will also be people who will never marry someone who's not like them, who doesn't have the same skin color or background. And that is good too. But what is important is for us to recognize that race is a concept. And we can explore it in story. And we can get to know each other. Because we can create as much systematic change as we want and pass as many laws as we want. And we have seen over and over there's this pushback. But when people start to talk to each other, start to listen to each other's stories, start to understand we all have feelings. We all want to be respected. We all want to be happy. And we all in this country believe in that foundational promise yet to be realized, that we are all created equal and we all have the right to the pursuit of happiness and justice and equality. And anyone saying anything else is not an American. Anti-racism is the most American thing you can be engaged in. It is the most American thing you can do. So be an anti-racist and speak loudly and strongly and without fear. When you hear racist ideas, or when you recognize yourself possessing a racist idea. What is a racist idea? A racist idea is anything that is built on the concept or thought that a person is less than or another person is better than because of their race. And you will find, when you start to examine what people say, what you say, what others say, what people think, there's a lot of racist ideas in the United States of America and in the world. And beside the racist ideas, there's a whole lot of ideas about skin color. So we will explore those ideas, and we will look at those ideas, and we will challenge those ideas. And where do we do that? We do them in R.A.C.E.S circles and in R.A.C.E.S Interactive. And I'd love you to subscribe to R.A.C.E.S Interactive. Our first interactive is October 12th. We will be looking at colonialism to the vote. And it will be an educational event, but will also be entertaining and creative and colorful. So I look forward to you subscribing. This launch is a special launch. You can pay what you want and participate. So click on the link below, subscribe, and I'll be talking to you next week.